Yo, it's KingSupreme's boy KingSupreme. Back on the video today, we got Fourth Dimension explained by high school students reaction. Now, you know I usually do music reactions, but I've got a suggestion of this, and I wasn't really, my my field of what I usually react to, because as I said, I usually react to rap, new rap songs, new hip hop songs. But I thought because I got the idea, I was like, why not do these type of reactions to like interesting ass videos? Because it seems like it's gonna be like a mad dope video, and I'm saying y'all suggested it, or when y'all suggested it, so I'm like, you know what? Let me do some of these reactions. I've never really done this type of shit, but doing this will allow me to flood y'all with content. Obviously, I'm still gonna do mad music reactions as well. I'm gonna be posting a couple today as well, but I'm gonna be doing these as well. So I'm telling you, I'm gonna flood. I know I always say that, but like everyday type shit. I'm gonna post like 2-3 videos a day type shit this week, next couple weeks, because I want to be here for y'all. You feel me? And I think this is gonna be a good opportunity because I can get as much content out to y'all as I can. You feel me? So Fourth Dimension explained by a high school student. Very intrigued. It's a 10-minute video. So you know what I'm saying? If y'all, this is not y'all cup of tea type reaction. If y'all just want to sit to listen to my music reaction, you can go do that. So you don't have to watch it. But I would appreciate if you guys watch it, because this seems pretty interesting to me, these kind of videos. So I'm gonna get straight to it. I'm not gonna talk your head out. I just want to tell you why I'm gonna react to this shit right here. And I appreciate dog for letting me know to react to this shit. It should be very interesting. I'm excited, but let's get to it. Let me shut up. Fourth Dimension.
Imagine that this folder is a dimensional plane. Now, assuming that it is no height and no depth, what would this mean? It would mean that it's a one-dimensional world. So if, hypothetically...
my man about to get scientific with it. Hold up. Let me tune in, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm shit.
Now,
let me tune in.
Assuming that it is no height and no depth, what would this mean? It would mean that it's a one-dimensional world.
He seems young as hell.
So if, hypothetically, an organism was living inside of it, it would only be able to move in a linear path forward and backwards in a straight line. Now, if we go to the second dimension, we have two dimensions. We have width and we have length.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if an organism lived inside of here, then it would be able to move up, down, left, right, and anywhere else in between.
Okay.
And a two-dimensional world is comprised of an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked upon each other.
Just two-dimensional world is an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked up on top of each other? God damn. I never thought nothing like that before. What they teaching my mans in high school? Shit.
And a two-dimensional world is comprised of an infinite series of one-dimensional worlds stacked upon each other.
Okay.
Just as our three-dimensional world, which has depth and length and height, is comprised of an infinite series of two-dimensional worlds.
Stacked on top of each other.
So, now that I've stacked many folders upon each other, we have three dimensions. We have depth, we have length, and we have width.
He's making sense.
What happens if you keep going on from here on out? We would have a four-dimensional...
My man, we got serious as hell. He's like, what happens when... Bro, he's piquing my interest, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, sometimes these videos, people just be saying whatever, but... From the beginning, bro, this dude's spitting some facts right now.
Now that I've stacked many folders upon each other, we have three dimensions. We have depth, we have length, and we have width. And what happens if you keep going on from here on out? We would have a four-dimensional world. But what exactly is a fourth dimension?
I don't know, bro.
In order to understand this, we need to understand how dimensions are perceived. We live in the three-dimensional world, but despite that, we actually view things to be two-dimensionally. Take a perfect sphere, for example. If you're looking at a sphere, it looks just like a regular two-dimensional circle. The only way that we could tell it's an actual sphere instead of a circle is because of the hues of light down. So just like in a two-dimensional world, if a organism in the two-dimensional world was looking upon a circle, the light would make it appear to be lighter at one end and darker in the middle.
Okay.
Also, if an object is moving closer and farther away from you, you don't actually perceive that it's getting closer and farther away. You see that it's getting smaller or larger.
That's
and
facts.
then you assume that it's getting either farther away or closer.
That's true.
But let's say that an object was to grow in perfectly equilibrium, so that it was growing at the same speed that it was shrinking as you move it farther away. Then you would not be able to tell that any lights or if there were details on the object that it's moving or growing at all.
Going at the same speed.
You may assume that since we perceive things to be in two dimensions, that a two-dimensional organism would see in one...
My man's giving me a better lesson than some of my teachers did. What the fuck, bro? And this dude is only in high school. I think this video was a little while ago, or he was only in high school. My man's giving me a better lesson. I'm intrigued, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes in class I wouldn't be, just chilling, kicking. I've listened to the teacher, but like, it's whatever. But this dude giving me interested, and he spent knowledge on my fucking head top. Like, what the fuck?
Growing at all. You may have assumed that since we perceive things to be in two dimensions, that a two-dimensional organism would see in one dimension. So, as we're watching this rubber band expand as it moves farther away from this little organism in the two-dimensional world, it does not actually perceive anything is happening to it because it's growing at the same speed that it's moving farther away.
Okay.
But since we can actually see it from the three-dimensional world and perceive things to be in two dimensions, we can see things for how they actually are. The reason that the two-dimensional organism doesn't see things the way they really are is because the two-dimensional organism sees things in one dimension, just how we, three-dimensional creatures, see things in two dimensions.
Oh!
So in a way, we don't really see our world the way it truly is.
This nigga got
a four-dimensional creature, however, seeing our three-dimensional world in three dimensions, would be able to see through things. Would be able
I'm sorry, but I honestly want to know how the fuck he knows all this shit. Like, who the fuck taught him this shit? My man's could be the next Albert Einstein. Like, who the fuck taught him this shit, bro? Like, I honestly don't know. Because I've never even, I've thought about 4D type shit, 4D, but I never thought, like, oh, what it really is it? Because I don't know that shit. You know, I feel like that shit mad complex. But this dude got that shit to a fucking science, bro. Like, goddamn, bro. This shit is not some
just as we could see
easy shit to learn.
There was several organisms spread along a 2D
smart as hell with it.
On your floor. You'd be able to see inside houses. You'd be able to see inside of people. So if a two-dimensional world, a flat surface, is just made of an infinite amount of lines, then the 3D world is just made out of an infinite amount of planes. So the 4D world, logically, is made out of an infinite amount of 3D objects.
Yeah.
Though they're not just put together like you would, like building blocks. That's not how the 4D world is.
I really want to know how it works.
3D again. So in order to understand this, we need to understand the logical progression of mathematics in our world.
Bro, I'm telling you, but
imagine that this connects piece represents the first dimension. It's simply a straight line, which is basically what the first dimension looks like. And if you add 3 more of these straight lines and connect them so that adjacent sides are perpendicular and opposite sides are parallel, then you have the basic shape of the second dimension. You have a square.
2D.
Now if you keep going from here, and you add it so that there's a total of 4 squares, and all adjacent sides are perpendicular,
3D.
and all opposite sides are parallel, then you end up with, obviously,
3D.
a cube.
3-dimensional.
So, if you tried to keep going from here, and you have a 4-dimensional basic shape,
how does that even look?
What's called a tesseract. Now,
I've heard of that before.
Show you a tesseract.
I don't know what it is, but I've heard of that
you need
before.
to understand that.
What the fuck show was that in? Oh yeah, that was in the damn Avengers. What the fuck? I'm fucking dumb as fuck. That's in the Avengers. I know I heard that shit for years.
It's basically 4 cubes that are within each other that have all adjacent sides perpendicular and all opposite sides parallel. Yet there are 4 lines connecting to each vertex. So a tesseract would look somewhat like this picture. Now that's not exactly what it looks like because this is a 2-dimensional depiction, and obviously not all of the lines are straight. So I cannot show you what a tesseract actually looks like because we cannot perceive things in the 3rd dimension. Mm-hmm. You cannot even imagine what a tesseract looks like. You cannot in your mind picture the 4th dimension or a 4th dimensional shape. And you can keep going on from the 4th dimension even. You can go to the 5th dimension, the 6th dimension, the 71st dimension. It doesn't matter.
I always thought this shit was mad interesting. Like, I just never got to, like, the 4th dimension, 5th dimension, different parallel. Like, all that shit, like, I always thought that shit was mad interesting. That's why I'm low-key, like, mad invested into this. Because I always wonder, like, what the fuck is that type? Let me know y'all feel the same, bro, but my man is spitting mad knowledge right here. Like,
there are an infinite amount of spatial dimensions. The common misconception of the 4th dimension is that the 4th dimension is time. Now, while some argue that by going forward and backwards in time, if you move forward the same distance and backwards the same, then you would end up in the same place you started, just like in the 4th dimension.
Yeah.
And while that may seem logical, if you think about it, it really doesn't make sense. If you imply that the fourth dimension is actually time, well, first of all, time is not spatial. There's a difference between space and time, quite obviously. And assuming that all dimensions are according to a pattern, then that doesn't really make sense either, because saying the fourth dimension is time, every dimension has time in it. So that would mean that the fourth dimension is special in some way, which doesn't really make any sense. Another reason this doesn't make sense is that we so very, very, very slightly travel through time whenever we move due to the distance that light takes to get to our body. Now, if a group of astronauts were to get in a spaceship and they were to go very, very, very close to the speed of light, then they would went around in this impossible, nearly the speed of light spaceship for a few months, and then afterwards they returned to Earth. They would find that Earth had actually progressed a few years, so they had moved forward in time by moving that quickly. Another interesting concept involving the fourth dimension is that many physicists and even mathematicians may say that the dimensions are very, very slightly curved, because if you really think about it, nothing can be truly, absolutely infinite.
Yeah.
So imagine that the first dimension, the line, is just very, very slightly curved, so that after a very long time, it will end up creating a circle.
Yeah.
So, as suggested by many physicists, if you keep going in the same direction, then you will end up where you are, where you started after a very, very long amount of time, obviously. And the same thing would happen to the second dimension. If it's just a square, and then you extend it very, very slightly in a curve, then it will eventually make a sphere. And the same thing happens in our dimension, except it will form a very, very slightly curved third dimension, which will form a four-dimensional universe, basically.
God damn, this dude is woke.
So what this kind of means is that our three-dimensional world is within a four-dimensional world, and the four-dimensional world is within a fifth-dimensional world, and so on.
This dude is
now,
so
I didn't say
bro.
that nothing can be truly infinite, but if this is true, and a dimension is really within another dimension, within another dimension, within another dimension, then I'm implying that there's an infinite amount of dimensions.
Yes.
Which is the only problem I really have with this theory. I'm not sure if it ever stops, or if infinity is really even possible. We don't know that.
I don't think infinity is possible.
Thanks for watching my video, and I hope this gave you a better idea of what the fourth dimension is.
Bruh, you're... The fact that he knows all of that shit, the fact that how woke he is, look at dude, bruh. My dude a fucking genius. This dude knew what he was doing, bro. What the fuck, like, yo, this dude needs to. He probably at the top of the world right now doing some shit. You know he rich as fuck by now, bro. He too smart not to be doing something crazy with his life right now. And I think this was posted 10 years ago, bro. Like, what the fuck? Okay, like I said, bro, these are new type of reactions. Like, this shit interesting as fuck to me. Like, I didn't know nothing about really the fourth dimension. I knew about it, but not nothing like deeply. But dude just taught me like some valuable shit that I didn't even know, bro. My dude is in high school. You know what I'm saying? Young, or at the time he was younger than me and shit, bro. So props to dude. This dude smart as hell. If I ever met dude, I'm like, bro, you smart as shit. You know what you're talking about, bro. Give me some more valuable information, cause bro, you teach me some about this shit. Probably some better than some of my other teachers just taught shit in genre, bro. Because the way he puts it, the way he says it, like it's all fucking. He tries to make it best to make you understand it. And it does make sense to me, you know what I'm saying? At the very beginning, I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Grabs your attention and keeps you going with facts and different possibilities, different theories, bro. This shit was fucking interesting as fuck, bro. But let me know how you feel about that in the comments. Let me know how you feel about that reaction. Keep on spamming below any type of other reaction, doesn't matter. Music reactions, you know, rap, hip hop, anything, any new pop songs you want me to react to, and also these kind of videos, because I'm gonna be spamming y'all timeline this week. So get ready for that shit. I hope y'all enjoyed. This video was wild. Yeah, it's your boy KingSupreme. We out, baby.